Update: how do I move forward after my daughter hid her father's affair from me for 2 years? Original post. I was married to my ex-husband, Derek, for 20 years before divorcing a few months ago. We have 2 kids, a daughter and a son. I found out Derek was having a 2-year affair, and my world was shattered. But what hurt almost as much was discovering that my daughter had known about it the whole time. She actively hid it from me for 2 years, lied, covered for him, and never once tried to warn me. When I found out, I was devastated, not just by my husband's betrayal, but by my daughter's choice to keep it from me. She was young at the time, and I understand it was a difficult position for her, but the pain was immense. I never confronted her directly, thinking it might affect her as she was about to go off to college. I just told her I knew, that I understood, and tried to move on. But after she left, I found myself distancing myself from her more and more. It wasn't planned, I just needed space to heal, and that meant not calling her as often or reaching out as much. Fast forward a year and a half, and I've started dating someone who has a 10-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Recently, we all went to Disney together, and he posted a family photo of us on social media. For context, my boyfriend covered all the expenses as a gift for his daughter's birthday, wanting to make it special for her. Along with my son and me, she chose her 2 cousins to come along, making it a big family-style trip that was all about her. My daughter must have seen it because she didn't call me for over a month afterward, and honestly, I wasn't as affected by her absence as I would have been before. I still love her, but every interaction brings up that pain. Out of nowhere, she called me in tears. She was screaming, saying I obviously hadn't forgiven her and that I'd shut her out on purpose. She accused me of replacing her with my boyfriend and his daughter. She kept saying, "It was a long time ago, I was a kid, I didn't mean to hurt you." She said she thought she was doing the right thing by staying quiet, that she didn't know how to tell me, and that she was terrified of breaking our family apart. She asked me if I'd ever forgive her or if I'd moved on for good. I tried to tell her that I loved her and never wanted to replace her, but she just kept pushing that I should get over it by now and that I'd abandoned her for this new life. To top it off, my ex-husband later called me, furious, accusing me of leaving my daughter for a younger man and a new family. He even had the nerve to call me selfish for moving on. Ironically, his girlfriend is 30, and he's the one who blew up her family with his affair. It's like no one understands that I'm still trying to recover from years of betrayal, and it feels like I'm expected to just let it go, as if my pain doesn't matter. My son, who lives with me, found out about his sister hiding the affair after overhearing my husband's mom and sister talking. He was crushed and hasn't forgiven her either, and they've barely spoken since. I never wanted him to know, but it feels like the entire family is divided now, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm in therapy, but I still feel lost. Part of me knows she was young and didn't know how to handle it, but another part of me feels like she chose him over me. I love my daughter, but every time we talk, that hurt resurfaces. I don't know if I'm failing as a mother or if I'm protecting myself. I feel like I've emotionally checked out, and I don't know how to reconnect. Edit: just to clarify, my divorce actually happened a few months ago, not 3 years ago as I originally mentioned. My sister, who is a bit of a scatterbrain, encouraged me to post here and typed out much of it for me. In the process, she got the timeline wrong, and I didn't catch it before posting. My daughter was 17 when she found out about the affair. She had a lot going on at the time, including having to change schools due to some personal issues and repeating a year. So, when I found out, it was less than 2 years ago. I hope this clears up the confusion. Reading the top comments before the update. You keep saying that she was young, but you haven't told us what age she was exactly when she knew. According to the timeline, was that when she was 18? Or younger than that? And how did she learn about it and cover it up? I feel these are 2 important details that we are missing. If she was an adult who actively conspired with her father, it's a different story from if she was a minor who accidentally discovered the fact and didn't know what to do with it. That's just for us to have more of the needed context. She was 17 when she first found out about the affair. She learned about it by overhearing her father's conversations, and while I don't know exactly how much she knew, she chose to keep it from me. I believe she was trying to protect him, and I don't think she fully understood the weight of her silence at the time. Did your daughter ever apologize for what she did? Your ex can go kick rocks. I hope you blocked him after telling him to take a long walk off a short pier and taking a long look in the mirror. He had your daughter complicit in his affair and blew up his marriage. Unfortunately, your daughter has learned not to take accountability from her dad. If you need to be in contact with your ex due to your son, Use a family app. Outside of that, don't speak or engage with him. He is an a-hole. OP, I wish you all the best with your healing and happiness. Thank you for your kind words and support. Honestly, my daughter's apology has been complicated. She did express that she was sorry, but it often came with explanations of how difficult it was for her, how she was stuck between her father and me. I can understand that she was young and in an impossible situation, but it still feels like she's brushing aside the depth of the hurt. Sometimes it seems like she doesn't fully understand why it's so painful for me, and that part has been hard to get past. As for my ex, yes, I've definitely limited contact with him to what's necessary for our son. My son mostly stays with me, so that call was a bit unexpected. We rarely speak directly, and when we do, it's usually through our lawyers. Our divorce was only finalized a few months ago, so I'm still adjusting to all the boundaries and just trying to protect my peace. He doesn't deserve any extra energy or emotional space in my life, and I'm doing my best to keep it that way. Update. First, I want to thank everyone who responded to my post. I was honestly overwhelmed by the sheer number of replies. I tried my best to read through as many as I could, and some of the advice was hard to hear, but necessary. It's been a lot to take in, but one comment really stayed with me. Someone mentioned how fragile life is and how little time we really have with the people we love. That struck me deeply. I've been so consumed by pain and anger that I forgot to think about what I'd want my relationship with my daughter to look like in the long run. If something were to happen tomorrow, would I be okay with leaving things as they are? That thought stayed with me, and within a few days, I decided to contact my daughter. I told her I wanted us to talk, not to rehash the past or point fingers, but to figure out how we could move forward. She was hesitant at first, which I completely understand. We had the conversation a few nights ago, and while it wasn't easy, I'm grateful she was willing to open up. There were tense moments, and I won't lie, it was hard to hear some of what she said. But for the first time in a long while, I felt like we were finally addressing what had been festering between us. We talked about what had happened, and I finally asked her for the truth about everything. When I first discovered her father's affair, he told me that she had always known about it. In fact, he claimed she had been his ally, hiding things from me multiple times. He even said that she disliked me and was on his side. Hearing that from him was devastating. I couldn't believe my daughter would do something like that or feel that way about me. The way I found out about the affair was awful, and the idea that my daughter had played any part in it, even unknowingly, made it so much worse. At first, she was very reluctant to talk about it, but eventually, she opened up and started sharing everything, including what led up to her actions. A few months before discovering the affair, she had been involved in a difficult situation at her high school. Without going into specifics, it was a matter where her actions led to serious consequences. The school had a zero-tolerance policy, and as a result, she was expelled. She had to transfer to a new school and repeat the year. On top of that, her grades took a hit, and she was finding it challenging to get back on track. When it happened, I felt it was important for her to face the full weight of her actions and take responsibility for what she had done. I grounded her and took away her electronics, hoping the consequences would help her reflect and grow. I wanted her to understand the gravity of the situation and emerge from it as a better person. Her father, however, completely disagreed with my approach. He felt I was being too harsh, insisting that she had already learned her lesson and needed support rather than punishment. The tension in our household became unbearable. Between my frustration with him and my disappointment in her actions, I found it harder and harder to communicate properly with her. There were constant fights, arguments that seemed to erupt over everything and nothing at the same time. It wasn't just them. Therapy over the past year helped me realize that I played a part too. My hurt and frustration often came out as anger, and instead of addressing things calmly, I let my emotions take control. I was constantly angry and frustrated, and my mood probably created an even more tense and uncomfortable environment for everyone. So, when she found out about his affair shortly after, she was angry at me and still reeling from everything that had happened. She admitted that part of her decision to stay quiet was fueled by a desire to get back at me. She felt like keeping the secret was her way of taking revenge, though she now realizes how wrong that was. She also told me she had tried to get her father to come clean, but he discouraged her from doing so, telling her that I had already been disappointed enough by her situation and that she shouldn't make things worse. Feeling trapped, she lied and kept lying, hoping it would somehow blow over without me finding out. Hearing this from her was heartbreaking. It didn't justify what she did, but it helped me understand her perspective. Knowing her father pressured her to keep his secret makes my anger toward him even stronger. He broke everything with his affair and then used our daughter to cover for him, making her feel trapped and responsible for his lies. I hate what he put her through. To be honest, our marriage was already going through a rough patch at the time, and we likely would have ended up divorcing anyway. However, it's one thing to fail as a husband, but to fail so completely as a parent is unforgivable. They always had a good relationship, and I never wanted to ruin that for her, even when I was angry. But seeing how he used her in his lies has only deepened my resentment. I told her that I've been hurt, not just by her actions, but by how deeply they shook my trust in her. At the same time, I reminded her that I love her, and I always will. I said that while I can't change the past, I want to rebuild our relationship. We agreed to take things one step at a time. I suggested we try online therapy together, and while she was hesitant at first, she agreed. She's already been seeing a therapist on her own and wasn't sure about opening up in a joint session, but I think she ultimately realized how much I want to make this work. I also brought up her brother. They've never had the closest relationship. He's always been more of a reserved, independent person, while she's more outgoing and emotional. There's been tension between them in the past, and ever since he overheard what happened with her hiding the affair, they've barely spoken. I've tried to talk to him about maybe giving her another chance, even when I wasn't on the best of terms with her. I really want them to have a good relationship, but I also don't want to push him too much. He's his own person, and I don't want him to feel like I'm trying to force him into something he isn't ready for or doesn't want to do. He's allowed to make his own decisions, and if they need time apart to heal, I'll respect that. Someone mentioned the unrealistic standards we often hold women to, and I've been thinking a lot about that. I don't hold her to any impossible standard just because she's a woman. She is the light of my life, but sometimes I realize I've shared everything in such a negative way because of how it all played out. I'm just trying to make sense of it all. I don't know exactly where I stand or what I'm feeling at times. I'm just moving through life like anyone else, doing the best I can. Thank you all again for your advice and for giving me the push I needed to start this conversation. It's not easy, but I'm hopeful we'll get through this, one step at a time. Reading the top comments before the update. Please let go of the idea of your son and daughter being close. Don't push for it. Don't ask for it. Just let it go. People choose who they want to engage with, and quite frankly, if I were your son, I would not want to be around your daughter either. They won't be close, and you need to be okay with that. Honestly, I'm coming to terms with it. They have a decent age gap, and their personalities are very different, which often causes friction. Even before her concealment of the affair came to light, they weren't close. There are several reasons for it, and I don't want to paint anyone in a bad light, but it's been like this for some time now. Right now, I'm trying to let my son be his own person and respect his feelings. I don't want to pressure him into prioritizing this relationship. I've also put him in therapy to help him process everything. He's a bit apathetic about the situation, not towards me, but towards his sister. He just doesn't care anymore, which in some ways feels worse. But this is where things stand for now, and we don't know what might happen in the future. I'm learning to take it one day at a time. Where were your daughter's parents in this? Why has a child been sat with the burden of your marital issues, and then punished for this by her own mom for years? How can you possibly talk with her about how hurt you have been by her actions when you and her dad have so profoundly stuffed her around? I'm so sad for your poor little girl. It speaks volumes to her character that she is willing to meet you in this discussion, given how valid it would be if she wanted nothing to do with you, never mind wanted to avoid hearing about your feelings on the matter. My child did not have to face the brunt of her marital issues from my side. I never punished her for anything related to that. I was hurt. I was effing hurt. I know what I did was wrong now, but god damn it, am I not allowed to heal? Am I not a human being? She was angry at me because I punished her for actions that caused significant harm to someone else. Somebody young, just like her. Tell me, what would you have done in that situation? Just swept it under the rug and acted like nothing happened? I am allowed to feel hurt by her actions. That doesn't make me a monster. But I know I need to forgive, and I am trying to work on that every single day. Her mother, me, was doing the absolute best she could, trying to navigate an extremely complicated situation with no help whatsoever from her father. You think you know the full story? You don't. So before you decide to come at me, maybe ask yourself how you would have handled the same impossible situation. Second update. I don't even know how to start. My relationship with my daughter has always been difficult, but everything truly shattered when I found out she had hidden her father's affair from me. She knew what he was doing, and she didn't tell me. When the truth came out, not just about his betrayal, but about her secrecy, it broke something inside me that I haven't been able to repair. Even before the secrecy of her relationship with her father came to light, we weren't in a good place. We had been constantly fighting. Years ago, there was an incident at her school that changed everything. She had bullied another child in a way that I can only describe as horrifying, so bad that it led to her removal from the school. I had been through something similar in my childhood, but from the other side. I was the victim. What she did brought back memories I thought I had buried, horrible ones I still haven't fully dealt with. I might have overcorrected in her punishment. Maybe I went too far. But I wanted her to understand that what she had done was not just wrong, it was extremely wrong. I took away her electronics because that was the medium she had used to fuel the bullying. Everything she did online was monitored. She could only use electronics for homework, and even that was supervised. I made her volunteer at places where she could see the impact of her actions. I even put her in therapy. I did everything I thought was necessary to help her, to make her grow into a better person. But no matter what I did, the fighting continued. She resented me for taking those steps, even though I was trying to protect her and guide her toward doing better. And then the situation with her father came to light. When I found out she had been hiding his affair from me, it broke something between us. I never stopped loving her, I couldn't, but I felt so deeply betrayed. I didn't confront her, I didn't even know how to. Every time I thought about saying something, I froze. Instead, I distanced myself in the ways that mattered most. I still spoke to her. I still picked up the phone when she called, attended her events, and supported her financially. I never abandoned her in those ways, but I couldn't be there for her emotionally like I should have. Every time I looked at her, the pain came rushing back. I wanted to fix things, to be the mother she needed, but I didn't know how to be close to her without falling apart. It was so effed up, and I know I failed her by pulling away, but I just couldn't handle it. Now, after all this time, we're in therapy together, trying to rebuild what's left of our relationship. I don't know if it's helping or hurting. The first session was fine, awkward, but manageable. The second session? It felt like being gutted. She spent the entire time blaming me for everything. She said I ruined her childhood. She brought up the punishment from years ago, saying I overreacted and destroyed her life. She refuses to acknowledge the harm she caused back then, or the pain she inflicted on that other child. She also refuses to see what her father did to me. She paints him as some perfect, amazing person, while I'm the villain in her story. Does she not see how he manipulated me? How he broke our family? He manipulated her too, making her hide everything in the first place. She said she was just protecting him, but how could she not see the truth? Yes, our marriage wasn't perfect. We married for all the wrong reasons and we're heading for divorce anyway, but how is everything my fault? I've spent months trying to find peace. I've worked so hard to rebuild myself, to find some kind of balance. And now therapy feels like it's tearing all of that apart. I'm exhausted. Mentally. Emotionally. Physically. I feel like I'm breaking my back trying to fix this relationship, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to keep going. I love her. She's my daughter, my blood. I'll never stop loving her. But I feel like no matter what I do, it's never enough. Why isn't this working? Why can't I make things right? I've tried everything I can think of, and yet nothing is changing. Is it me? Am I truly that terrible of a mother? Am I really the villain in all of this? I just don't understand. How did we end up here? I've spent so many years trying to be the best mother I could, trying to protect her, to help her grow. But every step I take feels like it makes things worse. I know I've made mistakes, God, I know that, but is this relationship really beyond repair? Is she better off without me? Why does she still refuse to see what he did? How could she not see the manipulation? Maybe I was too harsh, too distant, but why does it feel like no matter what I do, it's never enough for her? I've given everything, but it's like nothing matters to her. I just feel so lost. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I've ruined everything. Maybe I'm the cause of all this pain. She sees me as the enemy, and maybe that's all I am to her now, a constant reminder of everything she hates. I'm breaking. I'm so effing broken, and I don't know how to fix this anymore. I don't even know where to go from here. Am I supposed to just keep fighting, keep giving? Or should I just let go? I'm so tired. So effing tired. I can't breathe through this. It's suffocating. Reading the top comments before the update. From my point of view, you've done everything you can. At this point, life may have run its course, and now it's the long game. hoping she turns it around years down the line. This is my fear as a father to a 3-year-old. What if he bullies others or does something inexcusable, even for me? I'll try to avoid that, but hey. You've done well. It seems like her father may have manipulated her out of your life, maybe unintentionally or maliciously. Either way, I am sorry for what you've gone through. Don't blame yourself. These things happen beyond your control. I agree you're doing the right thing. The only thing I can think of is having her see psychiatrists for a more in-depth assessment of your daughter's mental health. Children and teens who bully often do better with psychotherapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, or a combination of medication and therapy. Maybe next session, you return the favor. List her failures. Talk about the harm she did, specifically to that classmate. Dump that hurt on her. It might not have the desired effect, but your relationship will never be right the way it is. You resent each other. Forgiveness can only happen when hurts are acknowledged. What is your therapist doing to facilitate this mess? She wants us to air out all our differences, starting from childhood and moving forward from there. My daughter and I have already started, and a lot of it has been very hurtful. I haven't been able to sleep properly for the past couple of nights. It's really early here right now, and I work longish hours, so this hasn't been the best time for me. That said, I'll give this therapist some time. She seems great so far, at least up until now. If it really doesn't work out in the long run, then we'll consider changing her. For now, I'll just try to push through. I'll try to say my piece to her in the next session. It's really hard to say these things to her because, at the end of the day, she's my child. But I know I have to do it, and I will. Thank you again for your thoughts. Last update. I wasn't planning on posting again, but I've had a few messages asking for an update, so I figured I'd just share this here and leave it at that. I'm not looking for advice anymore, and I'm definitely not looking for judgment. I just wanted to close the loop. My daughter decided to stop therapy. She said it wasn't helping, and I could tell she didn't really want to be there anymore. I didn't fight her on it. You can't force someone to heal, and trying to do that only pushed us further apart. We're still in contact, but it's surface level now. And in some ways, that's better. There's less tension, fewer fights. I've realized you can't really heal with someone who refuses to take accountability for their actions. We're both still in individual therapy, though, so that's something. Maybe one day we'll meet in the middle. Or maybe we won't. I've come to accept that things might not ever fully heal between us. It still hurts, but I can live with it. My door is always open to her, she knows that. On a brighter note, my boyfriend and I are planning to move in together, and it feels like the right next step. We're both excited about it. And my son got into an amazing college. I'm incredibly proud of him. He's worked so hard, and seeing him achieve this is honestly one of the proudest moments of my life. Anyway, that's where things are. Thank you to everyone who showed me kindness along the way. This will be my last update. I'm ready to let this chapter rest and just focus on what's ahead. Take care. On to the next story. My dad made me his retirement plan. I'm the oldest of 3. My dad has never saved a dime. He always told us, family looks out for family. I thought that meant emotionally, you help each other through hard times. Turns out he meant financially. Last week, he sat me down and said, I'm counting on you to take care of me when I stop working. That's what good sons do. He didn't ask. He assumed. I work 2 jobs just to stay afloat. I barely cover rent. Most months, there's nothing left for savings, no emergency fund, no retirement. My younger siblings are still in school and not in a position to help. My dad bought trucks, vacations, and beers for years instead of putting money away. Now he expects me to sacrifice my entire future to fix what he didn't plan for. I feel guilty for even writing this because he's my dad, and I don't want to be heartless. But love shouldn't mean self-destruction. I'm trying to figure out how to set boundaries without burning bridges. Maybe family counseling, a financial advisor, or talking openly about realistic options could help. I need boundaries now. I can't be his retirement plan. I just can't. You sit him down and break the facts. Sorry, Dad, but that's an impossibility. I can barely afford to take care of myself. Inflation has run amok, and things have been going south since the late 70s with regards to wages and the cost of living. Frankly, I'm offended that you chose your own short-term wants over your long-term needs and are now expecting your child to cover for you. You're on your own in this. As a father, In no way ever would I live my life and expect my child to pay the check when the time comes. It's selfish and completely against what being a parent means. We are meant to provide for our children and give them what they need to succeed. I know he's your father and all, but F that guy. He's an absolute disgrace of a parent. This isn't the 70s anymore. You can't afford crap with a regular person's job, let alone afford to support an additional person.